Hi, I'm Pippa from CraftPixie. Now, have you ever had a problem with a magic ring and getting it to work? Well, I've got 3 methods for you which I think are really simple. I'm going to walk you through 3 methods of doing the magic ring: the double loop magic ring, the single loop magic ring, and the chain method. I'm also going to talk about 2 different methods of holding the magic ring when working into it. For the double loop method, I put the yarn over my palm with the tail facing down, and I loop it round 3 fingers twice. When I go round the second time, I then cross over, I turn my hand and I loop round all my fingers, holding this between my thumb and my finger. I now know that this longer loop is the one I'm pulling under. So I'm going to push my hook under the shorter loops, pull this loop through and make a chain. This chain can be a tiny bit fiddly. You have to sort of play about with your tension around your finger and on the hook. For this method, you need to make sure your tail is on the right. You're going to be working just over the 2 loops. Made my stitches into my magic ring. To pull up this, pull on the tail and notice which loop is moving. So it's that loop. So grab hold of that. And now you need to pull in it the side which pulls this loop in. And then grab the tail and the second loop will follow. So that's more firm. So that's the firmest method. This ring is not going anywhere, it's not going to undo. So you could get away with just crocheting over your tail. I still like to darn mine in. For the single loop method, I lay the yarn over my palm with the tail facing down, and then I wrap once, but I wrap it only around my first 3 fingers, leaving my little finger free. I wrap it over, I cross over, so there's a cross, but this time I've wrapped it around all my fingers. This just means that I know this is the loop I'm pulling through. I put my hook under this smaller loop, pull my loop through, and then make a chain. That chain is going to secure that together. What you need is to make sure your tail is on the left. Now you can continue crocheting into your loop. So I've made my stitches. I can simply pull on the tail and it closes the loop. This can come loose, but it's quite firm still. You will need to darn this tail in. For the chain method, I make a slip knot and then make 2 chain, holding on to this knot so this first chain doesn't tighten up too much. And then I'm going to turn the chain over. Now, if you can see, this loop here is attached to the tail. So if I make my stitches into here, I can then pull on this tail to pull up the loop. So let's prove that. I pull on that, it pulls up my loop. Now this is really loose. You will definitely need to keep pulling on this to tighten the loop and darn this in carefully. But if you really can't cope with the other methods, this is something you can try. I just want to go over a couple of different ways you can hold your magic ring that might help you when you're working into it. So I've made my single loop magic ring, and my method is I hold it very close to that chain. That first stitch is always tricky. Once I've made that, I move my hand up and I'm holding on just there to that tiny bit of that stitch to stop it twisting. And then I'm going to work into it. My daughter, she does something different. She holds the loop tight with her other fingers. She pulls it out and then she works into it, so there's a lot of tension at the top. So the actual loop at the bottom is quite big, but she finds using her fingers and stretching that loop out gives the necessary tension and stops it from turning. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you found that useful, and it would be great if you could comment below which you think is the best method. Hope to see you again soon.